Hi everyone, my name is Brandy and I'm with the Sewing and Training Center, and in today's video we will be making the focal point from ByAnnie's patterns. So this case is good for protection for glasses, so that when you're on the go they don't get scratched. And then the other way that you can use these pouches or wraps is for cord management. So any cord that doesn't like to stay bundled together, you could actually use the smaller fold over case so that you can use it for cord management. So stay tuned as we sew and follow along with us. Here are the materials that you'll need for the ByAnnie focal point. You'll need a ruler, soft and stable, fusible interfacing, outer fabric, lining fabric, a marking pen, a stiletto, an awl, a pencil, thread, safety pin, scissors, the pattern, binding clips, and tool-free snaps. Just a quick note, since this pattern belongs to the designer, we can't share the exact dimensions or full cutting instructions in the video. Be sure to grab the pattern to follow along with us. Once you have your lining and your interfacing cut to the dimensions of the pattern, go ahead and iron the interfacing to the wrong side of the fabric. At this point, you're ready to fuse your main fabric onto your soft and stable. So there's many different ways that you can do that. I'm using the Beau Nash fusible powder. They're little granules that melt and fuse the fabrics together. You could also use basting spray. You could use pins. I find that fusing it to the soft and stable does a much better job when you go to quilt the piece. It becomes, sometimes you can get folds and ripples in your quilting, and when it's fused, I don't seem to have that problem. Once that's fused, we will then move on to the next step in the process. The next step in this process is to quilt the main fabric to the soft and stable. As you can see here, I am using a leader just so that I can make sure that it's tied off at the beginning and the end. You do not have to do that. I am just doing long curvy lines all the way through the piece. No rhyme, no reason, just my own measurements. It's just enough to keep it all together when you go to start cutting out your pattern pieces for the case. Once the piece is quilted, trim the wrap main as it states in the pattern. Put a safety pin at the top to mark what will be the front of the wrap. Position the wrap lining with the interface side up so that it's wider than it is tall. Mark horizontal and vertical lines as it states in the pattern to mark the centers. Next, position template B on the wrap lining. Make sure to align the template crosshairs to the crosshairs that were just marked. Trace around the outer edges. You will see 3 total lines on mine. I accidentally marked a line on the wrong dot and my eraser wasn't working. Mark the beginning and ending stitching points at the bottom. Make sure to lengthen the beginning and ending stitching marks to about a 1/2 inch. Remove the template. Position the wrap main with the main fabric right side up and the safety pin at the top. Remove the safety pin, and with its interfacing side up and the narrow wrap front section at the top, align all edges and clip in place. We can now sew the pieces together, beginning and ending at the designated point and backstitching well at each point. Sew along the marked lines. Make sure to leave an opening for turning. Then cut out the wrap, leaving a 1/4 inch seam allowance all around. Clip the curved edges throughout the wrap. This is to help reduce bulk. Be careful not to cut into the stitching. If you own a pair of pinking shears, you can use those instead. Turn the wrap right side out. Push out all corners. Turn the raw edges under to the inside and press the wrap. Finally, you can now top stitch all around the wrap, sewing about 1/8 of an inch from the edge. I decided to do 2 rows of top stitching about 1/8 of an inch apart of each other. Now we will attach ByAnnie's tool-free snaps to close the wrap. You will need a metallic cap, a plastic cap, a stud, and a socket. Position the wrap with the lining side up and the narrow case front section at the top. Fold the wrap in half to find the center. Mark with pins. Next, mark placement lines for the snaps on the top and bottom as it states in the pattern. We will first attach a stud to the top section. Remove the pins and use an awl to make a hole at the intersection of the just marked lines. Make sure the hole is big enough for the post to go into. Insert the metallic cap from the main fabric side. Threads on the post will prevent the snaps from connecting, so use your stiletto to move all of the threads away from the post. Then press the stud onto the cap. Firmly press the pieces together with your fingers. You will hear it click when they are joined. Follow that same exact process to attach a socket to the bottom section. Make sure to insert the post from the plastic cap from the main fabric side. Alright guys, well, we have finished our fold over wrap from ByAnnie. It was called Focal Point. Here's with my sunglasses in there. And as you can see, opens, close. Such a cute little project. So, thank you so much for watching this video. And if you found it helpful, please consider liking the video and subscribing to our channel. It really does help our channel grow. And everything that I use will be linked in the description. And also to remember that every stitch tells a story, and we here are helping you sew it better. Bye guys.